This month started off busy and it didn't ease off. And I know that as a council, we work very closely together. So I'm hoping that I'm not stealing the thunder of some of my fellow councillors with some of the things that we did. Both Councillor Potter and I attended the Domestic and Family Violence Forum in Bundaberg. And this was funded through the state government and managed by the Local Government Association of Queensland. It was an excellent event and we're already planning upcoming events for 16 days of activism from the 25th of November to the 10th of December. We'd like our campaign to highlight positive masculinity dialogues and collaborative efforts to end gender-based violence. We are also planning another Domestic Violence Month event at Ringsfield in May next year. Community events. The Nanango State High School hosted the Under 8s Day, and it was another great event, and Councillor Linda attended with me. We then went from there to the Nanango Community Centre, where they held a men's prostate cancer awareness morning tea at their building, which is the old Scout Hut. This was well attended, and Mayor Cathy also came over to it. I recommend this group as an excellent group for community to meet and interact with others. I loved comparing the fashion parade in Warrulan, which displayed the creative talent of Marg Engelman. The Nanango Theatre Company have had some excellent productions, and many are looking forward to their extensions of their little theatre. Our Ringsfield House monthly morning teas are building up each month, and we're now busy processing some new donations from local residents. I attended the Black Butt Show with Mayor Duff and Councillor Little, which was another highly successful community event. Dead Cow Gully is an event that shows the endurance of competitors, and I attended the final stage of the event, and to see the pain of that the competitors shared with their support crew and those attending was very emotional to see those guys come across. They'd been running for 60-something hours, come across the line and just fall on the ground where they ate and drank with something like 60 seconds before they had to get up and start the next stage. FarmFest Toowoomba event that Mayor Cathy mentioned, I think one of the highlights of that trip for me was Shane Webke, who spoke on resilience. And the takeaway for me was that today may not be a good day, not every day is, but tomorrow is a new day. The Bush Conference was held in Longreach, and I took the opportunity to do a 3-night car camp and do a little sightseeing on the way. It was a great way to check out what councils and communities have done to encourage tourists who now travel that way. With my fellow councillors, we also visited the Stockman's Hall of Fame. This is an example of using a local resource, which is the story of the Stockman, and turned it into a tourist facility telling the story of the outback. There were some great sessions, and one of my favourite was the councils investigating the possibility of forming an insurance mutual. We all know, especially those who are involved with community groups, that so much of your time is spent raising funds to pay your insurance. And it's very disheartening. You get a group, they're so keen to get something done, they want to raise funds to do something for that project. But as I said, they spend so much of their time raising money to pay insurances. Councillors have sent reports into council on some of the sessions, and they will be included with next month's sessions to inform council of what happened there. But it was also good to have a conversation up there with the local government minister, Anne Leahy. The community cabinet, Mayor Cathy has already touched on it, but one of the takeaways for me was the opportunity to speak with Department of Main Roads. And one of the things that I've been pretty passionate about is the fact that in Nanango, council actually are responsible for the heavy vehicle bypass, and Main Roads is the Drayton Street the main street is Main Roads. So we have been working with Main Roads, and at every opportunity we raise the fact that we would love to swap those roads, and I believe that's fast becoming a reality. And if that happens, it's going to make it much better for our community to be able to hold local events in that town area. Since the traffic lights and the roundabouts, it's really, and the new rules and regulations through main roads has been very difficult, and it takes away that community feel of your town. So we're hopeful that that is going to happen. We also drove to Heath, took us all down, Councillor Heath took us all down to the Sunshine Coast with Salvation Army captain, is he? See? And that gave us a great insight into what services they have down in place there for homeless. It was very interesting to see that most of these things are actually volunteer groups that are doing it, and there's limited funding by government agency, but it was a great opportunity also for us to build on the strong cohesion that we have. Councillors have all attended training during the last month, one done by state government and one by the local government association. It was good to join with North Burnett councillors and to be able to see that many of us have the same issues facing. It was good to be able to discuss them with them. The biosolid plant DA currently under discussion in Nanango. There appears to be a lot of misunderstanding on the process of a development application. Councillors can't decide a DA until the final formal decision stage. The assessment is done under Queensland planning laws with advice from specialist government agencies and consideration of submissions during the notification period. That is why we can't take sides before the statutory process is completed. But I've done my best to try and keep community updated as to what happens and to assure them that it is not a secret mission for council. It's not something that councillors, you guys, community are probably more aware of what's happening than many of our councillors are. So as I said, wherever possible, I've tried to make sure, and I'd just like to urge everyone that if you do have objections, there is that period to get those objections in and make sure that that's what you do, and make sure you base them on planning reasons, and they will all be considered. We have had a few reports of issues on our footpaths in Nanango, and all those have been submitted to council and they're investigating. Along with Councillor Linda, Deb and Mayor Kathy, we went up to the Bunya Mountains, and I think the Bunya Mountain, living here is a bit like living at the beach. You don't go to the beach unless you have a visitor, and it's a bit like that with the Bunya Mountains. I know the only time I ever go up there is when I have visitors, so I'd like to encourage people to go up there. Councillor Linda will give you all the information on it. On behalf of our community, and I don't know if I'm stealing this off anyone, I was very sorry to see Denise King finish her work at council, and I know that a lot of the community groups will be very sorry to hear that Denise has retired, because people putting in for funding, especially through our discretionary funds, Denise was just actually so helpful and helped everyone struggling through their paperwork. We have a new young fella there now, and I'm sure he will do just as good a job. But I know I've taken up a lot of time, Kathy. I apologise, but it was a busy month. Thank you.